What's up, fellow developers? My name is Tyler Potts, and in today's video we are going to be learning how to build the Twitter homepage UI like this using Vue.js and TailwindCSS. So this is normal Twitter, as you can see here, and we're going to be building this version. As you can see, we've got our own version here. It looks pretty much like the first one, a few different icons, a few different things, because I don't want to steal their icons straight from the thing. I'm using FontAwesome as well in here. So without further ado, guys, let's stop talking and let's get on with the video. Okay, everybody, the first thing we need to do is actually set up our Vue.js application. So what we're going to do is we're using the Vue CLI. So if you haven't already got the Vue CLI installed, I suggest you go check it out and how to install it before you continue on with this video. For now, we're going to type Vue create, and then we're going to give our project a name. I'm just going to type YouTube in here because I'm already in the Twitter clone directory, so I'm going to hit enter. This is then going to generate our app. It's going to ask us a few questions, and these questions are, as you can see, what features do we want? We could select some defaults, but we're going to manually select features, so I'm going to hit enter on here. Now we have some different options here, and because I want to make this so it is future proof, and if we do end up adding the functionality in, I'm going to select the router and Vuex. We won't be using Vuex, but in case in the future you guys do want me to continue this clone and actually go from the UI to functionality and everything else, we'll add in these in prepared. So let's hit enter. Then we get to choose our version. I'm going to be using Vue 3 because I really do like the composition API. Not a lot of people do, but for some reason I do. I like keeping all my eggs in one basket, which is a terrible idea, but we're doing it anyway. So let's hit enter. And then I'm just going to hit enter throughout everything else. And this is now going to run and create our project. So I'll see you once this has completed. Okay, everybody, so this has completed, so we're going to CD into the project, which is YouTube. Now, there's a few things we need to do beforehand. So we need to install TailwindCSS because the UI is going to be based off just using Tailwind's utility class system. So we need to start from setting up Tailwind. So here, there is some options. Let's copy this, head over into our directory here, hit paste and hit enter. So it's installed that. Let's go back. It tells us now we need to create our configuration file. So we need to do npx tailwindcss init, which is going to create our tailwind.config.js file. But then we're doing -p, which is also going to create our postcss.config file. So here you go, paste that in. I'm going to shrink this down so you can actually see it a bit better. There you go. Hopefully that's more on screen now. I'm going to hit enter and that's going to run. And that's already created. Perfect. Then after that, it's going to show us the files and it's going to tell us we can add purgins. Now, what purge does here is it basically, when you build for production, it will remove any unused CSS or unused Tailwind CSS features. So we're going to copy this. I'm going to head back to here. I'm going to open up code. So I'm just going to run code dot, and this is going to open up Visual Studio Code for me. You can open it up in whatever text editor you want. I just prefer Visual Studio Code. Now I'm going to zoom in one because I always forget to do this. And let's go into tailwind.config and see where it says purge. Let's replace this line with, I've apparently copied the wrong thing. Let's copy that again, copy and paste. There we go. So now that's in there. Now, we don't need to touch any other files in Tailwind CSS, but if you do want to change the theme, you can have a look at the theme settings or the theme options page inside of Tailwind CSS. If you do want to add different colors and stuff or do what you want, mix it up, you can learn more about Tailwind CSS through their documentation, which is perfect. But that's it. So now we need to create another file, include a Tailwind file in our source. So in our source, in assets, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to put it in the folder called CSS, and I'm going to say tailwind.css. I'm going to paste that in. Now this comment here is important at import because currently there is a bug in Chrome or Chromium that makes a weird bug. So we need to add this in to fix it. Now we need to include it in our main source file. So inside of our source, we need to find the main.js file, and in here we need to import. And then we need to give the path to our assets, CSS, and our tailwind.css file. So let's just check that's correct, tailwind.css. Perfect. So now that's all set up and it's all ready to go. We should be able to just go into YouTube here and just clear this, and we'll just go npm run surf. And now this is going to start our development server. As you can see, it's starting up. Hopefully there should be no errors and we'll be able to see our project. So it's done. Let's go over to our view example, refresh, and here you go. As you can see, it's all done. And to test if Tailwind is working, we're going to head over to our app.main, and I'm going to add a class to this home, which is background purple 500. There you go. As you can see, that updated perfectly, meaning Tailwind CSS is now installed and ready to use. Perfect. So what's the first things we need to do? Well, first thing is we don't need styles. We're using Tailwind, so we don't need separate styles. Let's move that over. And we're going to be doing a dark mode version. So we're going to go into our CSS here and we're going to add a few classes. We're going to add a body. And I'm just going to do @apply. Now, @apply is a Tailwind feature that allows us to grab their classes. So they have classes such as background, grey, and as you can see, they're all here. And I'm going to do 800. Now, you're probably wondering how I have all of those options. It's actually an extension called Tailwind CSS IntelliSense here by Brad Corns. If you install this, you'll be able to, as you can see on the right here, do what I just did. So make sure you install that if you're using Fear Studio Code, because it really will help you out. So actually, we've applied that background. So if we go back, you can see we're now in dark mode. Let's go to let's remove the config and let's close the main. Let's go to our app again, move that over, shut this sidebar for now. And in here, let's just remove this nav bar. We don't need it yet. We will need it, but we're going to make our own. So that's fine. Then we need to go to our views and go to about. We'll go delete that. So we're going to go into our router and we're going to remove the route for that. Now I know this is going a little bit quick, so I'm going to slow it down in a second. I just want to get rid of all the startup stuff. So we're just removing the route from our routes. And then we're going to go back into our view and in our home. Now we're going to remove this hello world component, because we're going to create our own components, and I'm going to remove everything inside this script for now. So we're going to leave that at that. We're going to remove the hello world again and the logo as well. We're just going to write home in here. I'm actually going to put this in a .text white div just so we can actually see it, because at the minute it's black text. Everything is looking good. We've got everything set up. So we've got our store, which is for our Vuex, but we don't need that right now. We can also go into our components and delete the hello world component. Oh, I don't want to rename. I want to delete logo. There we go. The logo has now been deleted as well. So now we're back. Here we go. Now we're fully ready to start. So we're going to start off where all good app developers start off, or web developer start off, in the app.view, the main file here. So let's close this and let me zoom in another one here. Now we want a few different classes, a few different setups in here. The first thing we want is to remove this router view and create a flex.flexColumn.min height screen. Put router view back in there for now. So what these do, if I hover above them, you'll see this just a display flex, this is flex column, and this one gives us a min height of 100 VH. So if you have IntelliSense installed, you can actually hover over them and see what their CSS properties are, which is great. I think that's a really cool feature. And our router is going to go in a main file here, a main tag, sorry, because we're going to be using proper markup for this. We're not going to be doing .diffs. We're going to be using header. We're going to be using semantic HTML, and we're going to do .footer for the footer of our app. Because if you've ever been there, if you've ever been on Twitter, you'll know there's a navbar at the bottom and a header at the top. So there we go. So we've got our footer and our header. Now we need some classes here, because at the minute, as you can see, it looks like this. In our header, let's add some more routers. So I'm going to do a router link, and our router link is basically just a anchor tag, a pretty anchor tag, where we're going to do 2, and we're going to do /profile here. And then we actually need to install FontAwesome. So to do that, let's head over here, type in FontAwesome /start. We can scroll down and click download itself, but I'm just going to do the npm method. It's actually a cheat, because I'm going to do npm and then I'm going to pull npm out of where it installs from. So in here, let's go back, let's stop the server, and let's install FontAwesome. So this is going to install. Okay, now that's installed, we can clear this and we can actually start our server again by running npm serve and let that start. Now it's open here, you'll see we have a node modules folder. We need to find FontAwesome, and we need to get into our CSS, and we need to grab basically this whole folder here. So let's copy this, copy the folder, drop the node, go into our assets and paste that in. And there you go, we get this FontAwesome free folder. It's got a lot of things and we don't actually need all of this. We just need the css.all.min. So what we're going to do is go to our main.js, and above our tailwind.css, we're going to import assets, not actually CSS, we're going to import FontAwesome free, CSS, and then all.min.css. And that is going to, basically that's all we need to do to get our icons working. So let's close this sidebar. We can close this folder again. We can close that. And back in here, we can now add an icon. So we can go I, and I'm going to give this a class of fas.fa_user. Now that is the one for the user. Now if you want to find others, you can search here. So let's say we want a home icon. So we can search home. As you can see here, it shows this home icon. So if we click on this, it gives us the markup here, what we need. So I can copy that and I can paste that in the footer, for example. Now if we go back to our app, oh, there you go, they have appeared. It's just they were loading. As you can see, there's a home button and now a profile button. Let's remove that, go back to home. There we go, cool. So let's remove this because we don't need that right now. What we need to do after we've added this router link in, we then need to add a h1 in, which we're going to give a class equal to text white, font black, and text XL. We're also going to use, we're going to get the current route's name. So whatever page we're on, we're going to get a name, which is currently the home page. As you can see, we now get home. We also need to style our user here. So let's give the router link a class, and we're going to add in here padding of about 4 all around, margin right of 3, text green 500, it's a nice vivid green, and then text 2XL for 2 times the size. And there you go, we see we've got our home user button there. And if we go to our header here, let's actually give this a class, say flex, item center, so it sent us our items, border bottom, and then border gray, about 600. Go back, and there you go, you can see we've got this nice looking header. Cool, so that now looks fine. We've got our header, and that's our header pretty much done. Simple header, all set up, ready to go. Now we need to set up this main route, because currently if we put something in our footer, we just do .text white footer. It currently sits dead below there, but we need it to sit exactly in line with this here. So to do that, we're actually going to have to do some custom CSS, because Tailwind doesn't support it as a option. And we're just going to we're going to say it's flex1 overflow scroll, which is going to push footer to the bottom. But the issue is once we get once we get enough content in here to overflow, it's going to push down our footer, which isn't great. So to do that, we need to set a max height, but the max height we need to set can't be done in here. So we're going to go over here into our assets, into our CSS, into our Tailwind CSS. And then we need to create a main, and we need to just say in here, max height is equal to calc, and we're going to say 100 vertical height minus 139 pixels. Now you're probably wondering where I get this 139 pixels from, but once we're done the styling, this header here is going to be 65 pixels high. As you can see, it says there on the right of that white box, tooltip box, X65, which stands for 65 pixels high. And our footer, when we've actually added in all the styling and classes, will be roughly 64 pixels high. Added together makes 139. So let's style up our footer as well then. So in our footer, we're going to do a class, and we're going to say equal to grid. We're going to use the grid cols for border top, and then border gray 600. There you go. See, we got it there. Now we need to, where we've got our footer in here, let's just delete this. Let's also shrink that down so it looks a bit neater. Let's split this up just because I want it to look a bit neater than it is. Now in our footer, we can do a router hyphen link. And in the router link, we can give it a class of padding 4, text, center, text to XL. And in here, we can actually give it an icon. So if we do another icon with the class of FontAwesome, like we did earlier, and I go back, oh, we've got an error. What did I do? Cannot use in operator path. Oh, I didn't add a 2 here. So you need an actual 2 on the router link. There we go. And as you can see, the home button is now in place. Now we need to give this a text. Oh, wrong one. A text gray 300. Give it a better color. Okay, so now that is done, we need to actually, so as you might be able to see, the height of this doesn't hit the exact bottom yet. The reason being is because we need to add in the rest of the icons. But to do that, we're gonna loop through our links inside of our router and actually display them on screen dynamically. So let's just close this, open up our router, and we need to create our next route. So we need a path. And this one is going to be explore. The name will be explore. This name is what will display on our actual application. And then the component, we're actually just going to reuse home for now. We also need to do something called main menu and set that equal to true. Now this isn't actually a true option for the routes, but there's a custom option we can add in. We also need to quickly, we need to actually add in a icon class one, and we need to give it their classes. So because we're going to need dynamic icons. So here's the icon class we need for the home button. Let's copy this and put that in here, but instead of for home, explore is going to be search. And now if we duplicate explore again, we can now do notifications, and then that can say as home, and this one is going to be a bell. And finally, we're going to add one more, and this is going to be messages. And in here, we'll do messages, and this will be envelope. And the reason we're doing the main menu is because we're going to loop through all of our routes, because we're going to need more than just the main routes, right? The main bottom routes. You're going to need a profile and you're going to need other stuff like that. But if we use main routes, we can then add in another path, which is, for example, profile. Again, it's all going to go to the home because the home is the only UI we're doing. But I want to show you how you could build it up to be better. Component, again, home. And let's just say that's all we need, because we don't need an icon because this isn't going to be a link we can access via the main menu. And without the main menu, it's not going to apply. But I'm going to show you what happens when we keep it in. So let's go into app. Now inside of our app, we need to actually create a new script because we're going to need to be able to get the root stuff. So I'm just going to say setup. And inside of setup, we need a const roots is equal to ref array. But to get that, we need to import ref from view. We're going to need the reference from view using the composition API. We're then going to also import use router from, and it's going to be view router. We also need in here this ref on before mount. Now, if we go back into our setup, we can also set up our router. This is going to allow us to get the information from our router file here. So we're going to say use router, just like that, and that's all you need to do. And then we're going to do on before mount, which happens before the component mounts. We're going to run an arrow function, which is just going to say root. Again, dot value is equal to router.options. .root .filter, because we need to filter and we need to say R, which is short for root, .main menu. So if its main menu value is set to true, which we set in here, as you can see main menu, this means it will return and be placed into our roots, our main roots file here. Now we just need to return roots. Now what we can do is if we go up here, and let's just go in the main bit here and just go roots like that. as you can see, we get some different things back. We get an array of paths, objects, names, and as you can see, the rest of it there. So let's just go back, remove that, and let's loop through that. So you see we've got a router link here. Let's break these onto separate lines to make it a bit easier to, I need to tab that, to actually see. And then we're going to do fee4 is equal to route in routes. And then we also need a key, which is going to be equal to route.name for now. You just need to make sure your names are unique. You could also add an ID in here or something, or we could do I and just sell it to I. There we go. That's perfect. And then our 2 is going to be equal to route.path. And our classes, our icons here, we need to bind this by using a colon and just say root.icon class, just like we've added here. And if we go back, you can see all our icons are appearing here, except from our home icon. And that's because we didn't add main menu to it. So you can see, because we didn't add main menu, it's not appearing in here. Oh, wrong bit. Main menu. And there you go. Now it appears in our main menu, which is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Also, it looks like I have miscalculated something. 65 plus 64 is 129. Not 139, which means that is wrong. And there you go. Now, give it a minute. There you go. Now that's right. So it was just my maths was wrong. Don't blame me. Cool. So we can close our index.js file now. And we're actually, for now, done with this. So if we click on this, you can see we change routes. The home page obviously isn't going to change because we're using the same component for now. But you can see we swap routes and the name updates at the top there, which is perfect. But we now need to display our tweets. So let's go into home. Let's close our app. Let's go into home and let's start creating our tweets. So what we need for this is we actually just need something very basic. In our script here, we're going to create a setup. And our setup, again, this is part of the composition API. We're going to create a constant of tweets, which get equal to a ref array. And up here, I'm just going to import, again, ref from view. And we need to set some default tweets. So obviously at the minute, this tweets is just a plain empty reference. Now to keep this clean, I'm going to create a file in here, just a new file. And I'm just going to call this tweets.js. Although Brad's Traversy Media gave me a good idea to call it tweets because it's a few tweet. So I'm going to call it tweets because I like what he said. And then I'm just going to export default an array of objects. Now I have all these on screen over here. I'm just going to drag and paste them across because else we'll be here all day. But I am going to go through them with you just to show you what they are. So here you go, they're all in there, and let me go through them. So each tweet object has an ID. Obviously, if we want to hook this up to MongoDB, we'll have an underscore ID passed properly through. For now, I've just gone 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We get the author, which would be the display name, the username, the profile image. We get a body, which is the content, which actually should be backticks. So we can actually add in some HTML markup in here. And also break it onto new lines if we wanted to. And then we've got stats, and stats are just arrays of likes, retweets, and comments, which have usernames in them. So actually we've got user 1, user 2, and then we get, for comments, we get a username and a body of the comment itself. So kind of like what the body is up here, but down here. We also, so in our second one, it's the same thing, but this one's by Brad. As you can see here, there's a bit, it's broken onto 2 lines, which is fine. And then for Florence one here, you can see there's HTML markup in here. Obviously, when you save a tweet, you want to save it right. Also, that's really annoying me that it's really out. There you go, much better. There you go. And then stats, all are different. I've just added random stats in. And then for the final one, here's my one. But this one actually had an image attached. So we're going to do some dynamic data to say if it has an image, then we're going to use it. Now, if you want this array here, these tweets, you can actually get this by going to the GitHub repository below and just getting this file out. So let's import that. So let's import tweets from /tweets. Now we can just literally replace the ref in here with tweets. I love this. It's amazing. Tweets, Brad has come out with this out. I'm also going to rename the const to tweets. It's going to confuse me at some point, but tweets. Oh no, we can't. It has to be tweets. Damn it. We've got tweets. So we've got our tweets here and our tweets here. That's all we needed from that. So now what we need to do is actually just export that or return that by going underneath here and just say return, and we can say tweets. Now let's go up here and let's just print these out. Tweets, just to make sure it's working. And there you go. You can see everything is being replaced there. It's looking good, which is good. So let's just delete that. Let's remove this text and let's actually start setting up our tweets here. So we're going to create a new class and it's going to be called tweet, or maybe tweet. So let's go in here. Let's create a new component. So I don't say class, I meant new component. And let's call it a tweet.view. Now we're going to call view, minimize that. And in here, we're going to set up our tweet component. Now, tweet component is going to be quite big. It's going to have article as its main one, and we're going to do .tweet. The classes we need on here is border bottom and border gray 600. For now, though, we're just going to, let's remove our style down here. And in our export, we're actually just going to get props. And the props is going to be content or tweet, because we're going to get the tweet information passed down our tweet. And in here, I just want to say tweet.author.name, or is it username? We'll do username. It's display name, isn't it? Damn it. Display name. So we're just going to display the name. We're just going to do a .text white so we can actually see it. If white would actually work. There you go. So we're just going to add text white here, and we're going to display just a name. So inside of our tweet here, we're going to just say fee-4. And before we actually continue that, we actually need to import it. So we need to import tweet from /components/tweet. And then we need to return it inside of our setup here. So we're just going to say tweet. And this way we can now use tweet. We're going to say tweet is equal to a lowercase tweet in tweets. And then we're going to pass through a bind a tweet to tweet. We also need to bind a key equal to tweet._id. And there you go. That is our fee4. Let's break this down just so you can see it a bit easier. So we've got our tweet. We loop through our tweet. We get our key and we pass through the tweet. So now if we go back and we've got an error, cannot read property name of author. Let's go through tweet. Is it just we need to hard refresh? There you go. For some reason, it didn't hard refresh. When you add a new file, I think you need to hard refresh it so it picks up that new file. But as you can see, we've got one by me, one by Brad, one by Florin Pop, and one by me again. So let's go back and let's actually set up how this should look. So we've got our article. We now need to wrap this whole thing in a router link. Now this is not going to be used, but it's just for when we actually set this up with functionality in the future, if that's what you guys want. So we've got a router link, which goes to and a class of flex p4. And that just adds, makes it flex and adds padding. We're then going to create a figure, which holds an image data or media data inside. And we're going to give it the class of width 16, margin right 3. This is going to be the image, the profile image. So we're going to say image, and we're going to say source is equal to, and we're going to say tweet.author.profile image URL. I think that's it. Let's have a look. Profile image URL. There we go. So that should be in there now. I might even change this out, all these tweets in a minute, to be everyone's actual username, just so you can actually see them. So now in our alt, we're just going to say, oh, we're going to remove that. We're just going to say image because that's all Twitter do. And I don't know why they should give it a proper one, but that's what we're going to do for now. So we'll just go image. And then we're going to give this a cloud of rounded full because it's got to be rounded, and then width full as well. So that looks about right. Width full, rounded full. Perfect. So that's going to fit the full figure here. So if we go back to our tweet, you can see here we've got our profile images displaying. Now I'm going to be right back because I'm going to swap these out for our actual profile images. Okay, as you can see, I've added in all our profile images. That is as simple as, let's go to our tweets. And it's just adding in their proper image there, just swapping that out for a proper image. There you go. So that is now done. So now we've got proper images just to make it a bit more personal. Now let's actually style up the rest of this card. So let's close that. Let's go into tweet, and underneath figure, we're going to create a tweet -body or a section dot flex one dot tweet body. I hate that. I've done that the wrong way around. There you go. Now inside this section, we're going to have a div with the tweet author, and in here we're going to have a span dot text white dot font -bold. Now in here we're going to pass through the display name, so we're going to say tweet dot author dot display underscore name. Let's break this down just so it looks a bit better on screen. And then we're going to copy this. I'm going to paste in here. And I am going to say text gray 500. We're going to have margin left of 2 to make some space. And we're going to go font weight normal. And then we're going to pass through the username. Save, go back. And as you can see, it now says TylerBots. With the username on the right, and same with Brad, Florin, and again me again. I'm there twice. I tweet more than other people. I definitely don't. Tweet body. So we've got tweet author done. Now we need to create our tweet content. So let's create tweet -content. Now in here, what I want to do is I want to bind this, and inside tweet content we're going to add backticks, and I'm going to do a check. We can actually remove the tweet. So these tweet names, it's just how I name each section. You don't actually need them. So I'm going to remove them because I think they're unnecessary. But there you go. That's what we add there. Now inside here, we're just going to say, we're going to say if content.image, so if we have an image, we're going to say mb-free, else we're just going to pass back no class. So what we're just saying here, if we have an image, we need to add space underneath the content, otherwise don't. So let's just add in this paragraph with the class of text-white. And then we're going to do something called phi-html, and we're going to pass through content.body. Now the reason we're doing phi-html is because we're not actually going to be just adding text. We don't want to, if you just go in here and you say content.body, let me remove the phi-html quick just to show you. And I hit save and I go back. What's the error? Can't read image. Okay, everybody, I figured it out. It was not because of anything like this. I was trying out loads of different things. It's actually because it's not called content, it's called tweet. There you go. So if we go back and we refresh, there you go. It's now showing. So as you can see, without phi-html, you can see we just see there the it's BRB, break, which isn't what we want. We actually want HTML. So if we delete that and we paste in phi-html and just say tweet.body, you can see in a second, there you go, it actually uses HTML instead, and it actually writes it out correctly. Now there's probably a better way of doing this, but it's the way I do it at the minute. If you do have any better way of doing it, then please let me know. I wanted to do it so it noticed line breaks inside of the actual text, the file, the string. It noticed the line breaks, but fortunately it does not, which sucks, but that's fine. We can just use breaks for now. So let's carry on. So we've got our image there. Now we need to create another figure, and inside this figure we'll give this we'll give this a phi if. So we need to check if the tweet.image exists. If it does exist, we need to say class rounded -XL border, and then border gray 600, and then we need to say overflow hidden. Now in here we need to create an image, and we need to set the source equal to tweet.image.url because it's actually a object, and then we need to do in the alt we'll say tweet.image.alt, and we're going to give it this a class. Let's break this down. Let's scroll down here, and let's break these down into our own lines so it's easier to read. And inside the class, we're just going to say width full, height 44, which is a left and rem, and then object cover. Now, object cover is the same as doing object fit cover, as you can see there. So yeah, don't forget, if you hover over these, you can actually see their values here, which is really nice. And there you go. So that's the image done. So if we go back to our tweets, you can see my tweet is right here with the image I posted earlier today of this exact application. So there you go. We've got images, we've got emojis as well, we've got usernames and images, which is good. So it's looking good. But one thing I've noticed is our links aren't highlighting depending on what page we're on. So let's go back to our app quickly before we finish that, because we also need actions. We haven't got the like, the retweet, the share button at the bottom there, so we also need to add those. But I want to get this highlight working, so let's go back home. Let's go to our app. Oh, that's not app, that's main. And let's close main again. And now in here, we just need to say where we see when we have these classes for router link, we actually need to do a quick. Yeah, no, I was doing that right. A quick thing here where we go, put these all in backticks, because then we can do this. And in here, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to do route.name is equal to $route.name. So if down here, yeah, so we're getting the route from here, and then we're doing route.name here is equal to route.name. So this is the current route's name, and this is the route link we're on. We're going to check if it's that. We're going to say if, then we're going to return text.green 500. Else, we're going to return text gray 300. So if we save, we can remove the text gray from up here. Hit save, go back, and as you can see, when we click on different ones and it changes up here, you can see the color now changes, so it shows us which page we're actually on. Click profile, stuff like this, it all changes, it all looks good. Cool. So let's go back. Yeah, so that's that done. That's all I want to do. So let's go back to the tweet here. We're not done yet. We need to actually add in our tweet action. So under here, we're going to go tweet-actions. Again, I don't know why I added in that class. We don't need that class. I just add it because I don't know. Lets me know why it is. So we're going to say flex item center. So we're just adding some margin at the top. We're adding flex item center. And then we're just going to say justify between. So item center is just like using align items, and justify between is just justify content. And now underneath we need another div, which is going to be the comments div, and we just need it to be text gray 500. And then we're going to add a I with the class of fa comment. And we need to add some more styles in there. We need P2 all the way around, margin right 1, rounded full because we want it to be circular, and on hover we want to say background green 900, and then hover text green 500. Hit save, go back. Actually, everyone has a comment button, and when you click it, so if you're hovering over this is what you would see. It would show what is there, so the little circle, which is really nice. Now we need to actually pass the stats, so we need to create a span, and in here I'm going to say tweet.stats.comments.length, because the comments.length is going to give us how many comments we actually have. And actually I've got 4, Brad's got 3, Flon's got 4, and down here I've got 2. So now we just need to copy this. We need to copy this about 3 times to 3 more times. There we go. And this one needs to be retweets. And we need to change for comment to retweet, because they actually have a retweet icon, as you can see here. And then we need to do the second one as for heart, and the final one as for share. Now if we go back, as you can see, that's now working good. We just need to change this one to likes, and the final one, well, the final one doesn't actually have stats because it's just a share button. So there you go. You can see now we have a comments, a retweet, a heart button, and also a share button. And there you go. That is our Vue.js Twitter clone, Twitter UI clone. Now, I know a lot of people want to see functionality. So if you do want to see the functionality, we're going to be using Node.js to create an API for this. And we'll actually set up a functionality where you can post your own tweets. So if you are interested in that, then please do let me know in the comments down below. Now anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to share it with your friends. For now guys, thanks for watching this video, and peace out.